Pope Leo made some interesting comments when he replied to Donald Trump. And before I get into why those comments are interesting, there is some echo chamber activity that is definitely prevalent, and not only prevalent in religion but in politics as well. And you can tell when you're speaking to someone who has an echo chamber mentality, because if you're in a conversation with them and you have a viewpoint that differs from theirs, they'll just interrupt you, start talking right over the top of what your thoughts are. They don't want to hear it. It disagrees with their mindset. Therefore, they're just going to interrupt you. They're going to ride right over the top of you. And online, it's much easier for people like that to eliminate them. This is also called confirmation bias. And if we apply it to law enforcement, everyone would be indignant. Confirmation bias. You have a crime that takes place and the police look at one piece of evidence and they formulate their entire decision based off of that one piece of evidence, or a couple pieces of evidence. And then from that point forward, they only look for things that confirm their bias. Apply that to politics. Apply that to modern religion, or even religion that is in history that is of the Abrahamic cults. Confirmation bias and the echo chamber mentality, because it definitely applies to what Leo said in response to Trump. And what did Leo say? Leo said that he's here to spread the gospel, and that blessed are the peacemakers. Okay, it says that in the Bible. Blessed are the peacemakers. And that I'm spitballing here. I don't have his text right in front of me, transcript. And that there must be a better way to deal with conflict, and that the U.S. and Israel attacks against Iran, he feels as though that is civilization annihilation, and there must be some better way to do this than annihilate an entire civilization or culture, if you will. So when I heard him say that, I was like, well, that's interesting that the modern Pope would say that, because there is a mindset with present day Christians that God is love and Christianity is love, and you spread the gospel via that love. And it's all bunk. It's all hogwash. It's the only way that Christianity was spread amongst the pagan nations, the pagan cultures, was through massive bloodshed, through war, through conflict. What happened to blessed are the peacemakers then? See, that's not a new addition to their Bible. That's been there. No matter if the forbidden texts were put back into it, that's still been there. So this is a false narrative by Leo, saying that there must be a better way than conflict, and it's his mission to spread the gospel. And did he forget about the Crusades, where the popes back then were giving indulgences to people that not only would your sins be forgiven, but the sins of their ancestry and at times the sins of their posterity would be forgiven if they went and fought for the Christian Empire over in what is now Jerusalem for the church. Well, wasn't there a better way, Pope? See, this is like I said, it's all fake. There's a word, and I don't know if it's actually a word. It's something I've been using for a long time to convey this mindset of, and the word is presentism. So this mindset of presentism, what is that? It is taking things of present day and your mindset on those things in present day and extrapolating it back in time and saying, well, that's how it was back then as well. And that's just not true. That's living in a lie. So what happens is the Pope will make these statements, and people who are looking for that confirmation bias or looking for that echo chamber will repeat that God is love, and blessed are the peacemakers, but they will eliminate all the other pieces of evidence that show otherwise, that show that Christianity is a brutal, murderous, chaotic, evil cult, as well as Islam and Judaism. They're the trio of evil and chaos. So when our pagan cultures were forcibly converted and entire cultures were attempted at being erased, then we're to believe that didn't happen. It's only going to be repeated. Now, let's make it akin to something that is outside of religion, if you will. A husband and wife or any domestic relationship where it's abusive, and the man is beating on his wife because she deserves it. So once that abuse stops and she complies to his demands and his force, she hasn't done so freely. She's done so because she's too fearful to do otherwise. And then he will say to her, well, I did it because I love you. And then she will repeat that because she has been programmed. Now, if you haven't watched the Christianity as a Social Construct, where I talk about these social constructs and social engineering, this is exactly the same thing. It fits right in there. I encourage you to watch that video. It's about 50 minutes long, but it lays the groundwork for all of this echo chamber, all of this confirmation bias, everything that we see with blessed are the peacemakers, and war should be avoided, and the Pope is standing on the side of peace because he's a peacemaker. No, that's bunk. That is historically bunk, and it's bunk now. It's the Pope wants you to not know church history. He wants you to not know how many women, how many pagan women were killed and labeled as witches. He doesn't want you to know that. But what about love? What about dusting off your sandals if they don't want to convert and leave that city? There wasn't that, not historically. There was abuse to the point where now the victim is saying, I deserve that punishment. If I don't be subservient to my abuser, then I am sinning, because it's only done to me because my abuser loves me. Just think about the mentality of that in a domestic relationship, and then apply it to religion, to your Christianity. It is social engineering on a grand scale, which makes it a social construct. It's something that the Pope, with all of their historical files, that even the ones they're not releasing, knows is a lie, and he told it anyway. So if blessed are the peacemakers, then the three cults of Abraham definitely are not those peacemakers. So I know some people are going to argue about this because they are in that echo chamber. They only want to hear confirmation bias to what they believe, and they're going to put their blinders on, and they're going to run through life, plug their ears with their thumbs and put on their blinders and say, nanny nanny poo poo, my God is real. Yeah, okay, until you rewind the clock 1,000 years before Christianity, and guess what? Zoroastrianism had the one true God as well. So, you know, but like I said, Echo chambers will not hear that. They'll be rude, they'll talk right over the top of you, and it is a delusion of Christianity. So I will end there, and until next time, or till's nast to gone, good Helsa.